Very briefly, the problem was that the 10 pictures that we had were oblique, taken at an angle, and they were taken with a tiny camera, 35mm camera, a small negative, and also the fact that when you look at an oblique angle, then trees and buildings and people hide each other, so that you cannot get the real number.
And you had obstructions and other things you had to deal with, but all that is taken care of with your high-tech techniques. Don't keep us in any suspense any longer. What was the number? How many people were at the Million Man March on Monday?
The best we could have done with all of the data that here is the number comes out to roughly 870,000.
Wow, 870,000. Now, there are some error bars attached to that. What are those?
Yes, I have estimated that the errors that we're dealing with could be about 25%.
So that means your estimate is from what to what?
It comes down, it could be as low as 600,000 and as high, conceivably, as 1 million, or a little over 1 million.
I mean, that's still a discrepancy, Farouk, with the National Park Service. And how do you account for that?
I believe that the first count from the National Park Service was done with a television strip, and television imagery is not as good as the 35mm images that we had now. So the National Park Service people did the best they could do.
But now, let me ask you this question, because Minister Farrakhan was claiming that there was 1.5 million to 2 million people there on Monday. Based on your analysis, which you did, is there any possibility that there were 1.5 million to 2 million men there at that march on Monday?
Absolutely not.
You're absolutely confident about that?
Yeah.
Well, Joan, thank you very much, Farouk. I really appreciate this effort. All day and all night they worked on it. Joan, I don't know what this is going to do to Minister Farrakhan's threat to sue the National Park Service, but I can tell you that there is no better and more competent scientist than Farouk El-Baz, and no better technique available to science than the one they used last night.
You know, Michael, it sounds to me, though, like just listening to what Dr. El-Baz just said, is that for one thing, they perhaps need to use different cameras. Maybe they should be taking them standing still instead of flying by, or from straight on instead of from angles. It sounds to me like they don't have the best use of the system.
Yeah, but Farouk was telling me that, and I've heard that from others as well, that instead of using helicopters, which makes the picture shake a little bit, it's a very unstable platform, better to use a fixed-wing aircraft. It's a much more stable platform. That enables you to use a much bigger camera, gives you a much larger picture. Instead of using little 35mm film, use a bigger film like that. You can see the heads a little more clearly, and make sure that the pictures overlap, because then that gives you a stereoscopic 3D image, and the relief of the heads sticking up off the ground make it a lot easier to count them as well.
But using the sophisticated technology, that number is pretty much double the number that the Park Service came up with. So
this is a surprise. Big news.
Yeah, big news. Thank you very much. We'll be back.